I just had gone on a run one day and started having a really bad pain on my right side. It just never really went away. I was diagnosed in 2018 with primary biliary cholangitis. It's a very rare autoimmune liver disease. I was 38 years old at the time. We were very shocked. I'd always been very active and healthy, played sports my whole life, and I just felt very sick every single day. I had to take probably a 2-hour nap every day before my kids would get done with school. I was in bed usually before they were, and they would come say goodnight to me a lot. It was devastating. My life had changed. I was just a different person.
Our two families had just moved to Imperial Beach. Erin's family was up in Spokane, Washington before that, and we were in San Diego, but we all moved to Imperial Beach the same day, right at the end of 2017. And so we had a lot of ideas about, raising our kids together and spending a lot of time together. And we had our first in early 2018, and it was within 6 months that Erin was diagnosed. And each month and each year seemed to be worse than the last, and there wasn't a lot of hope, so it was really hard. I remember Jake coming over and telling me after one of their family trips that Erin was done traveling. And that the last time I'd heard that was my grandparents, who were like 85. Erin was 40. So that really sticks out to me as a hard moment.
Despite feeling so sick every day, my numbers were actually pretty good once I had been put on medication. So my numbers didn't necessarily match up to my quality of life. I was years and years away from qualifying for a deceased donor, at least a decade, if not longer. So I didn't have a lot of hope with the way I was feeling and my kids being the ages they were. My sister, she had a friend who was a nurse, and she'd been a liver transplant nurse. And I ended up talking with her, and she suggested that I go to UCSD. She had worked there. And she told me that Dr. Ajmira was amazing and he was the best. So I made an appointment. It was a consultation. I vividly remember that day. I walked in and was waiting for him, and he came in and he had read my entire medical file. He knew dates, different events that had happened. And that alone just was so impressive. But he really just listened to me, and he talked about trying a couple other medications that I hadn't tried yet. But then if that still wasn't really helping my quality of life, that we could look at pursuing living donation. And I walked out of the office and I was absolutely sobbing, because it was the first time in years that I had had hope of healing and trying to get a semblance of my life back and being there for my kids.
The process for evaluating the donors is as rigorous medically as evaluating the recipient. So we're taking someone who's healthy, and we really have to ensure that they're going to do exceptionally well through the surgery, and that they'll be safe and their long-term quality of life won't be impacted. And Erin had a lot of people that were willing to volunteer and come forward to potentially help her.
I didn't even know my blood type. So I think after Shannon was determined to not be a match, I went and donated blood to find out my blood type. And we were a blood type match. So then I started thinking about, I want to put my hat in the ring here.
Shannon had texted me and said, "Can we FaceTime?" And so and to get Jake. And Henry told me Well, I just got a call from Dr. Schnickel, and are you ready to get a new liver? And Jake and I both just started sobbing and trying to talk more to Henry and Shannon and asking or just letting them know, are you sure? Please only do this if you're 100% sure.
I remember getting up and kind of staggering my way down the hall to Erin, but it was very emotional seeing each other.
Just disbelief that he had done this for me, the selflessness of it. I just felt like I had my very own personal superhero.
It was also day one that you said, when I was in there, you said, I feel better than I have in years.
Yeah.
When we were in the ICU.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
I wasn't nauseous anymore, and my body just didn't hurt like it used to, just kind of all over. Yeah, day one, my sister and my husband said that your color already looks better.
I was in the hospital for 6 days, and it was pretty rough. You know, that was a recovery for sure. But at about 10 days or 2 weeks, I was walking, I think, a couple miles a day. And at 6 weeks, I'd say I was almost fully back to normal. And then I was playing basketball, swimming, again at like 3 months. And since then, I felt great.
Most people aren't aware that the liver has this unique capacity to regenerate. And for example, for Henry, we actually removed over 60% of his total liver volume. We took the right side of his liver, which is the larger of the two sides, and used that to transplant into Erin. His body, it didn't regrow a right side of the liver, but what happened is the left side gets stimulated and ends up being almost the same volume and same size as his original liver. It has all the same functional capacities as a normal liver and does all the same jobs that a normal liver does.
I honestly feel lucky to be the one that did it. I felt like the right person for the job, and it's changed my life in a lot of ways, positively. And it's just an endless well of joy seeing Erin do well.
My recovery has been awesome. I'm getting my life back, and I feel better than I have in years. I'm working out again, so much more energy than I used to. I'm up late, you know, putting my kids to bed now. There's all these little things that have happened the last year, and I'll try to, I want to text Henry and just say thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for the fact that I'm the parent there for my kid.